Americans all over the country are not exactly thrilled with big tech's plans to build massive data centers. In fact, according to a report in Semaphore on Monday, opposition to data center construction has been bubbling up in communities all across the nation, as both Republican and Democratic local officials have been campaigning on promises to stop these data centers. Awesome. That is bipartisanship right there. Okay. Now, for example, in Virginia's 30th House of Delegates district, both Republican and incumbent Geary Higgins and Democratic challenger John McAuliff have been fighting over which one of them is most opposed to AI data center construction in their region. Wow. In an interview with Semaphore, McAuliff said that the opposition to data centers in the district has swelled organically as voters realized that the massive negative impacts that these centers will have on the environment as well as on their wallets. I mean, McAuliff explains that, hey, we're dealing with the biggest companies on the planet, so we need to make sure that Virginians are benefiting off of what they do here, not just paying for it. And how do they pay for it? Well, I will get into that. In fact, here's the thing. NPR on Tuesday similarly reported that fights over data center construction are happening nationwide, as residents who live near the proposed construction sites have expressed concerns about the amount of both water and electricity that these centers will consume at the expense of local communities. The NPR report explained that a typical AI data center uses as much electricity as, get this, 100,000 households. And the largest under development will consume 20 times that. This is according to a report from the International Energy Agency, which notes that they also will suck up billions of gallons of water for systems to keep all of that computer hardware cool. So, yeah, that's the reality. Okay. Now, that said, these companies are like, well, yes, sure. Okay, we use a lot of energy and we're using a lot of water, but you know what? Surely voters will see the upside of being able to create videos of a fit-looking Donald Trump riding shirtless on a motorcycle with Tupac and Elvis. I mean, come on. Look at the value there. Not much value. Okay. In fact, residents are like, yeah, we're not buying it. We are very concerned about all that water that is being used and our electricity bills going up. In fact, the Philadelphia Inquirer reported on Monday that residents of the township of East Vincent, Pennsylvania, they have seen their wells dry up and are worried that a proposed data center in that area would make that even worse, which is true. It's what's been happening in Mansfield, Georgia. For years, that city has experienced problems with their water supply ever since Meta had begun building their data center in 2018. In fact, as BBC reported back in August, residents in Mansfield have resorted to buying up bottled water because their wells have been delivering murky water, which they said was not a problem before that Meta data center came online. Meta, of course, for their part, commissioned their own study, claiming to show that its data center has not affected local groundwater quality at all. No, what are you talking about? The groundwater's fine. As they drink, as they put out an AI video of somebody drinking groundwater because they won't touch it themselves. Okay. That said, Mansfield residents not buying it. Beverly Morris, who's lived there, says, quote, "My everyday life, everything has been affected," in reference to the data center. "I've lived for this for 8 years. This is not just today, but it is affecting me from now on." And there you go. Now, in addition to the concerns about water, of course, there's also concerns about the massive amounts of power that these centers require. According to recent research, these fears about power usage are well-founded. In fact, Mike Jacobs, a senior energy manager at the Union of Concerned Scientists, last month released an analysis estimating that data centers have added billions of dollars to Americans' electric bills across 7 different states in recent years. In Virginia alone, for instance, Jacobs found that household electric bills have subsidized data center transmission costs to the tune of $1.9 billion in 2024 alone. God damn. And this is at a time, of course, where you have inflation, where everything has gone up, and now the data centers are getting subsidized by the taxpayer, okay, to the tune of billions of dollars. In fact, Jacobs explains the big tech companies rushing to build out massive data centers are worth trillions of dollars, and yet they're successfully exploiting an outdated regulatory process to pawn billions of dollars of costs off on families who may never even use their products. And that's despite, of course, the fact that every single one of these tech companies has been trying to jam AI into everything. Okay, everything. And people are not interested in it. Okay, I'm not interested in it. Look, people deserve, he says, to understand the full extent of how data centers in their communities may affect their lives and wallets. It's a clear case that the public unknowingly subsidizing private companies' profits, which seems like an American institution at this point, where, yes, taxpayers always unknowingly end up subsidizing giant corporations. Look, here's the thing. I don't want to pay more in my electric bill and lose my water just so some right-wing internet rando can generate false and misleading videos showing Portland on fire or something, and have that get retweeted out by President Trump in his, and be used as justification for more military invasions into American cities. No, thank you, sir. Not at all interested, but that's what it's being used for, or will be. Now, that said, while there is backlash in these areas, it's still not a national issue, which I think is kind of insane. It should be a national issue. More people should be paying attention. Now, an advisor to Bernie Sanders, Senator Sanders, Faiz Shakir, did predict in an interview with Semaphore that this will pick up, and that opposition to the construction could be a winning political issue for anyone that decides to get ahead of it. Quote, for any Democrat who wants to think politically, what an opportunity. The people are way ahead of the politicians, as we often are. The only problem is politicians don't exactly listen to the people in this country. Look, that said, AI and data centers is one of those issues that is, once again, pitting the very rich who donate lots of money to politicians against people who will be impacted by this the most. I think it's very unlikely that this administration will pull back on AI because, look, tech bros have showered Trump with money. And so if you showered Donald Trump with cash, you are going to get what you want. He is absolutely corrupt, okay? And in return for that money, he's been deregulating the shit out of the industry, all right? That said, local politicians, at the end of the day, do have the final say over these data centers and whether or not they come to your neighborhood. So if you are looking for someone to call, I think calling your local representatives and saying, no, we do not want these in our neighborhood, and organizing your friends and family and your neighbors, your community against any plans to bring these data centers to your area is probably your best bet in fighting back. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.